Happy Friday, Ronchar Ranchers. I hope that you guys are all doing well. Able to come up a little earlier today on our little dinner with Louie. Sorry I missed last week. The time just honestly got away from me. It's when it's cold, everything always takes longer. It takes everybody longer to eat. It takes longer to clean up. And by the time that I was done, it was late and it was dark and you wouldn't have really been able to see anything. So, because Louie is taking so long to eat, I am able to do this while it is still light out so that you can see him. You can see it is snowing and the temperature has dropped. So we were lulled into comfort with temperatures in the 30s and 40s. And last time I checked when I was on the way home from work, it was 15 degrees, and they're saying it's probably going to be -4 or 5 by, 5 o'clock tomorrow morning when I'll be out here feeding everybody again. So some of the things that we do is everybody gets extra hay, and those that get Louie gets some extra alfalfa pellets to keep his little motor running. But that's what we do to keep them warm in the winter. If it's going to be, super cold and super windy, then we do blanket. But Louie's got a really good coat on this year. I think that his body got used to the change from his change in environment from last year, from coming over here. And it does usually take about a year for their hair growth to change. For those that remember Titan, when Titan first came, he did not have a very good winter coat. By the second winter with us, he had an amazing coat. He was like a woolly mammoth. And he came down from North Carolina. So that's where he came from. Luann, yep, extra grain and cracked corn. Yep. We don't do the cracked corn, but we do the extra, like I said, Louie does get his extra alfalfa pellets. So, yeah, it really, really helps a lot and, keeps the weight on him and keeps him warm. So for those that don't know, the way that horses stay warm in the winter is by through digestion. It's essentially the fermentation process that happens in their guts. And you may have seen the post that I posted about the literal heat camera that was used to see the difference between a horse before being fed and then while being fed and a little after being fed. You could see the amount of heat that they were producing. So there's your science learning experience from us. But other than that, Louie is doing well. I think that the coldness does make his EPM a little worse, especially with his issues with the mild seizures. When I came out today, he was stretching his neck and contorting his neck, similar to what he does when he's feeling discomfort in his head. So it wasn't a big deal, You know, it wasn't as severe as it has been in the past, but most definitely, I think the cold is affecting him. So we'll keep an eye on that and talk to a couple other people and see, you know, what they do, if there is anything that can be done in that situation when it does get colder. But other than that, he's doing really, really well. I mean, you can see how he looks. He's standing square, you know, which for him is always a big thing. He has his feet close to each other, which means that A, he's not going anywhere, and B, that he's comfortable in doing it, standing that way. You know, prior to, he had a very, very wide stance, and I think a lot of that had to do with his balance. But now he's back to, you know, standing, like I said, standing relatively square for him. I mean, his front feet are not totally square, but, you know, that's really not a big deal. He likes to move his feet around. He's, at least his front feet. But let's see what else is going on with him. We were supposed to have the dentist come in last weekend. Unfortunately, there was a family emergency. So we're going to reschedule that. We're going to get through this cold spell that we're having, and then we'll try and reschedule. There's really no point in, you know, making the horses uncomfortable, making the dentist uncomfortable when it's not, you know, it's not an emergency. Obviously, an emergency situation is different, but, you know, routine work can be put off by a little bit. I'm just seeing how he's eating. Yeah, so obviously with the cold, one of the issues that happens with his food is that it gets soaked. So I prep the food in the morning for the afternoon, and so it sits and soaks all day while I'm at work. And sorry, I have to make sure Charlie doesn't try and get to Louie's food. So I have it soaked all day, and you know, there's still moisture in it. So when it comes to feeding him and it's super, super cold out, you know, the potential for the food to freeze is higher depending on how fast he's eating. I have noticed with him that when he isn't, you know, up to snuff, because it is colder, he does eat slower. So that also contributes to his poor food freezing on him, which makes it that much more difficult for him to eat. So, but he's doing really well tonight. Aren't you, buddy boy? Look at you. Yeah, he's cruising. We pretty much I started this right when I gave him his allotment for the night. So, yeah, usually it's, you know, 3/4 of that container is filled with his alfalfa pellets. But other than that, he is doing really well. I have noticed that his right side, right rear muscle is a little different. I'm not sure if it's increased muscle because of the supplements that he's on, but I have seen some changes. So the left side and the right side definitely are quite a bit different, which they were before, but it's just, I can't explain it there has been a change. I just don't know what that change. I mean, that's his. You're all right, buddy. I gotcha. He's getting nervous about Charlie moving around here. So that's his left side. Here, buddy, back up. And then that's his right side. So that's a pretty good. You can see the definite difference here in definition. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, he's not on totally level ground, so that's attributing a little bit to it. But yeah, this is the musculature that we need to work on in the spring to build back up, which I'm hoping upon hope that we're going to be able to do, as long as he is staying the course with feeling better with his treatment. Obviously, it's too cold and too icy to do it right now, and I don't think that Dr. Lauren would agree with starting him on exercise right now either. Not because of the conditions, just because I'd like a few more, at least another month or two at the level of that he's on with his supplements, and see how he does from there. I mentioned before that, you know, some horses can come down and reduce the amount of supplements that they have. I have a feeling Louie is not going to be one of those horses. I think he's got to be on a high dose, you know, the maximum dose, because we did run low and started cutting some things back, and to make sure that he didn't run completely out of it, and you could definitely see a difference. So you know, it may just be that his body isn't ready to cut back yet, but you know, he's had this for an awfully long time, and I think that his body just needs to be on the supplements for possibly the rest of his life, but which is fine, you know, as long as we found something that helps him. That's all that I really care about. You know, the home that he goes to will obviously know about what his supplemental needs are. If we're fortunate enough to find somebody that wants to adopt Louie, you know, he is a very, very good boy who really does deserve a forever home. So we're hoping that now that we've found the answer to the EPM puzzle, that later in the summer, that we can start the process of finding him his forever home. But other than that, guys, that's really all that is going on with Lulu. And look at that, the Rockstar has finished everything. He's a little vacuum cleaner. He's got to go all the way around to make sure that he's got every little morsel. And he's such a good boy because he also has his Equiax still in there. So he's just a rock star. He's such a good boy. But anyway, guys, that's really all that I have this week. I just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know how Louie is doing. I will talk to you guys next week. And please, everybody be safe. You know, Western New York is supposed to be getting some heavy snow the next Sunday into Monday. So be safe, stay warm, and I will talk to everyone next week. Thanks, Lori. You stay warm too. We'll see everybody later, guys. Be well.